are here today to demand that Anthony Albanese use the powers vested in him as Prime Minister of Australia to make the British government end its illegal imprisonment of Julian Assange and allow him to come home to be with his wife Stella and their 2 children. Anthony Albanese could do this today. He could ring up Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. He could tell Rishi Sunak, you are illegally imprisoning an Australian citizen, release him now. Almost certainly Sunak would comply with such a demand from Albanese and Julian would be free. For Sunak not to comply and try to keep Julian Assange locked up, Anthony Albanese would have recourse to the International Criminal Court, to the United Nations and to international public opinion, which is overwhelmingly on the side of Julian Assange. Albanese knows he could free Julian Assange today. Yet Albanese has done none of this. He has said very little at all about Julian Assange since he became leader of the opposition in May 2019, almost 3 years ago. And he has said very little since he became Prime Minister 9 months ago. On the 30th of November, during question time, Albanese was asked by independent Member of Parliament, Ryan, this question. Australian citizen Julian Assange is still confined in Belmarsh prison, charged by a foreign government with acts of journalism. Mr Assange's freedom will only come from political action. Will the government intervene to bring Julian Assange home? A similar question was asked of Prime Minister Albanese after he made a rushed, unannounced visit to the Woodford Folk Festival in Queensland. In response to Monique Ryan's question about what he is going to do about Julian Assange, Albanese said, I can assure the member for Kooyong, Monique Ryan, that I have raised this personally with representatives of the United States government. My position is clear and has been made clear to the administration that it's time for this matter to be brought to an end. What he meant by brought to an end is not clear. Should Julian Assange be thrown in jail and the key thrown away, or should he be free? In a similar response at Woodford, where Albanese made his unannounced appearance, he said a similar thing, but he failed. He told the girl the Australian government does not have the power to bring Julian Assange home. This is untrue. Albanese knows full well that the United Kingdom's imprisonment of Julian Assange is illegal under UK law and international law. If he rung up Rishi Sunak today, Julian Assange would be free. Crikey.com has shown that Freedom of Information has revealed that little has been said. There has been little correspondence between the Australian government and the US government concerning Julian Assange in the last 6 months, contrary to Albanese's claim to be contacting the US government. Albanese's government's failure to take any action to free Julian Assange flies in the face of the Attorney General's announcement on the 19th of January that there will be a media freedom roundtable later this month in Canberra. The roundtable is to discuss how the Australian government can bring about freedom, press freedom in Australia. Interestingly, WikiLeaks has not been invited to this roundtable as far as I can tell. The WikiLeaks news service, which Julian Assange founded, has not been invited to the roundtable. It would be interesting to know what is said about Julian Assange, if anything, at this press freedom roundtable later this month. I doubt if they will say anything. They will pretend that freedom of speech somehow exists in Australia when the most courageous, the most effective, the most award-winning journalist in Australia is locked away in prison and the Australian government has chosen to do nothing about it. The publicity for the roundtable says journalists should never face the prospect of being charged or even jailed for just doing their jobs. That is precisely what has happened to Julian Assange for doing his job of WikiLeaks, of revealing to the world the facts about American war crimes, about corruption political corruption in the United States, Australia and Britain. He has been locked away in Belmarsh prison under various furious, stupid reasons, but his real crime is journalism, revealing to the public facts that they need to know about their corrupt, crooked military and their corrupt, crooked governments. Whilst when Parliament resumes in February next Monday, Monique Ryan will be asking of Albanese to explain the discrepancy between what he told her on the 30th of November last year and what he told at Woodford Folk Festival about his government acting and contacting the American government and the British government to free Julian Assange, when we know from freedom of information that he's done nothing of the sort. It will be very interesting to see how Albanese responds. Unfortunately, the way Parliament is run, you can only ask embarrassing questions in question time unless the major parties agree to have it properly debated. Unfortunately, there's bipartisan collusion between the ruling Labor Party and the opposition Liberal Party to suppress any discussion about Julian Assange on the floor of Parliament. Back in December 2021, independent MP Andrew Wilkie tried to put a motion to the Australian Parliament which called on the Australian Parliament to act to end Julian Assange's illegal imprisonment. However, they would not allow Andrew Wilkie's motion to even be put. Why? If they knew that everything they were doing about Julian Assange was justified and defensible, why on earth would they have not allowed Andrew Wilkie to put his motion? Why on earth would they have not used the occasion to explain to Andrew Wilkie and the rest of Australia why it was not possible or why it was not right for the Australian government to act to end Julian Assange's imprisonment? The reason is that they know full well that they don't have a case. They know that Julian Assange's imprisonment is illegal, it is criminal. They know that if the government acted today, they could free Julian Assange, and they don't want the Australian public to realise that. That is what would be very clear if this was ever debated in Parliament, regardless of how people vote, members vote. If it was debated, all the facts would be put before the Australian public. That is why the majority of Parliament have voted, the press have done all they can to suppress discussion. Well, that is not good enough. Monday of February, this coming Monday, Parliament will be sitting again. Monique Ryan will be asking a question of Albanese to explain why the discrepancy between his claim for acting for Julian Assange and the fact that he's done nothing. But it is also necessary that it be fully debated, not just in the 2 minutes allowed in question time. We need a proper motion, we need a full debate on the floor of Parliament. If there are 40 members of Parliament to bring Julian Assange home to Parliament, surely it is possible for those 40 members to find a way to put to Parliament Andrew Wilkie's motion of December 2021 to bring Julian Assange home. Surely it is possible for them to put their case as to why the government should act, why Julian Assange's imprisonment is illegal, and surely the government can then explain to us why those who support Julian Assange are wrong and why the government is right to do nothing. What are they to fear?